Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? I mean, this is like a fine Sunday afternoon, but that's the time like I'm recording this video. I gotta say, the one thing about Millie Alcock, or pretty much about the Supergirl film, is that it's getting very more backlash than really anything needed for a record. In my personal opinion, though, did I at first say the movie was perfect? No, that trailer did left me pretty divided. It had a more better second trailer, but even by then, the movie still had me divided. I wasn't gonna outright say the movie was bad, because even when it came to Superman, I didn't really have a whole bunch of hype until I actually watched the movie. I was like, okay, this movie actually is good. It has something to say. But the thing is, with people, and this is mainly the freaking Snyderverse fandom, is that Superman, James Gunn, these guys have all been hunted down ever since they started the DCU. Ever since the DC, like, EU got shut down, which, by the way, it was a messed up universe according to its timeline, and all this stuff, it has all caused a bunch of PR stunts to happen, a bunch of backlash around, like, even the cast, for the record. All of this stuff. People were even hating Superman and saying it was a box office flop, which, let me tell you, Superman had around a $225 million budget. People were going out of their mind crazy, saying they had to make nearly $1 billion break even. When in reality, if you do the 2.5 rule, since, like, the 2.5 times rule, because majority of the time, theaters and movie owners are splitting. Movie owners mainly get like a very small portion of the tickets, and the rest of the portion comes from the concession stand. Like, say a ticket costs around $12, well, the studio gets around like $9 of that ticket, while the theater only gets $3. That's how the whole cycle works. That's why we have the 2.5 times rule. So the thing is, if we do Superman's budget, which was $225 million times the 2.5 rule, the movie only had to make $562.5 million. And guess what? It out-succeeded that, making $616 million, churning a small profit for DC. People want to lose their minds saying, it made under Man of Steel. Okay? Yet again, the DCU was just starting, and Superman had like a buttload of competition that would have probably, if it didn't have to compete with Jurassic World and Fantastic Four First Steps, it probably would have stood a good chance and at least passing by, or at least crossing in on the $700 million mark. But this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Supergirl. I'm talking about the bull crap going on with Millie Alcock. I'm talking about all this. When Supergirl first came out, trailers were hated. People didn't like the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. They didn't like, I would say, I guess, a chopped Supergirl. So everybody thought Millie Alcock Supergirl was very chopped and not very straight-haired, good-looking as her comic counterpart was, and all of this stuff. But the whole goal that the movie itself was trying to inspire from was from the Woman of Tomorrow comic book, which also had a very depressed Supergirl. But here's the thing, it was a masterpiece-centered comic book. Now, do I have my worries for Supergirl? Of course I do, 100%. But the thing is, people are losing their mind over this movie, specifically, like, flopping because of what the actor said or how this movie is. No, it's really none of that, honestly. It comes really down to popularity and the fact that James Gunn himself hasn't really fully made this a interconnected universe just yet. When the first Iron Man movie came out, people were actually already familiar with Iron Man, okay? But if you had like a movie like Ant-Man come out after Iron Man, that would have flopped because Ant-Man has no recognizable ability by the year 2009. Marvel was not really an interconnected universe, so of course they had to take risk and only put characters that they knew at first. Because first they made Iron Man, then they made the Incredible Hulk, and then they made Iron Man 2, and then they took risks with Captain America and Thor. They both flopped, but guess what? By the time the Avengers came along, both of their movies afterwards started becoming massive box office hits. But the issue is with Supergirl is that a lot of people are just turning on Millie Alcock over what she has said. Now, Supergirl is going to flop because, number one, Supergirl is not really a popular character as Superman. Okay? Now, I know you guys are going to say, well, Guardians of the Galaxy was a hit, but Ant-Man was a hit, and nobody wasn't really familiar with those characters. Like I said, that was during the time where the MCU was starting to get popularity, to where basically, since majority of other films were going to be good, anybody would show up to any other films. That's common knowledge. So it's why they barely had any flops until 2023. Well, 2021, but you get the point. And with Supergirl, with Millie Alcock and what she said about men's bodies and stuff like that, here's the thing. Supergirl is on track to flop. Okay? Supergirl, like I said earlier, is not as popular as Superman. So, of course, that would lead to less big box office returns. And another thing is, Warner Brothers themselves is not even marketing this movie. From what I got out of my earlier research, they're mainly just doing like TikTok shorts to get people invested. For a big blockbuster that I believe costs $175 million to make, doing simple TikTok ads is not going to make the needed money for this thing to break even. It's going to instead make it lose more money, to where Warner Bros. Is probably going to have to rely on streaming for this movie to be a box office success. And yet again, none of this has anything to do with Millie Alcock. None of this specifically has anything to do with female superhero movies as a whole. People will still show up to female superhero movies because, number one, there's still action. There's still going to be character development. There's just going to be all of that stuff. Snow White was a flop. It wasn't just because of Rachel Zegler. People just hated the movie. It was a garbage movie. But from what I'm hearing from early Supergirl test reactions, the movie's actually going to be very good. So from what I'm trying to point out in this video, Millie Alcock, she probably may have said some wrong stuff. But she also is kind of right, too. Sometimes when female stuff do come out based on the Captain Marvel effect, that can cause some controversy among people. Because people worry if they're going to have allegories. Since majority of movies these days, they can't handle actual female writing. They can't. It's kind of sad, but most movies centered around young women, they don't have proper writing and mostly label them as men, which that's not doing good for the new future woman, which is Gen Z, Gen Alpha, all that stuff. Movies like Barbie, they were sexist. 100%, that movie was sexist. I hated that movie walking out of it. But it was still appealing to girls, and that was the main thing. Supergirl, it's a comic book film. Its job isn't to only appeal to girls, it's to appeal to an entire mass variety of people. So, what Millie Alcock's saying is right. People really do act like that, mainly so people can get some drama out of it, because there are some YouTube channels that actually love to make fun of movies like this so they can make some quick bucks out of it. It's crazy crap, but it happens. And like I said, what Millie said, that doesn't mean that she is going to push for any anti-woke, I hate men, none of that stuff. Okay? She is here to try to put a good word on this movie that she has worked hard alongside James Gunn with. So, guys, I know you guys only want some drama to increase views on your YouTube channel, but I wanted to straighten this up right now. Don't attack actors who are just trying to do their job, make a good movie, be part of something that they thought they can never be part of, and let them get paid. That's their freaking job. If they're saying something like they hate men, they will say it out to the world they hate men. Okay? That's simple as that. I never heard in that interview she said specifically she hated men or something like that. That's just targeting somebody just for clicks, just for PR press and stuff like that. That's why James Gunn and all these other people working on the movie had to do freaking damage control on it every single week. Leave it alone, guys. Leave it alone. There are several other female actors you can attack, but the ones that are being kind of like Millie, who are just trying to do their job, get paid, make a good movie, connect with newer people on the set, because that's what their job is, leave them alone. People make mistakes. Really. If somebody says something by accident, that doesn't mean outright, let's attack them. But whatever the case, don't take this out of fruition. Don't try to hate me for saying, oh, I'm trying to be anti. I'm not trying to be none of that stuff. Okay? Woke is just the most dumbest term I ever heard in my life. Other than that, I'm looking forward to this movie. I don't know exactly if it's going to be good or not, but one last thing. If this thing is a flop, it is not from Millie Alcock. It is not from the direction it's going on. It's from none of that. No person is to blame for this movie. Okay? If anything, it's really Warner Brothers' messed up decision for not marketing this movie. It's really the studio to blame, not the people working their tail off or the actors working their tail off just make this good. Now, I'm done.